should be pretty quick, right?
So it's this many.
Yeah, we could do that.
Okay. I mean, well, yeah. So we can do the tier list. There's also the deck review, which is probably quicker.
I think we could say review for next time and do some more builds if we don't have to do like 50,000 uh, proxy spoilers.
So you said do another deck build today?
No, I'm saying do the tier list.
Okay. Yeah. Sure. Okay. All right. So let's do the tier list.
Okay, so starting off,
It's
we
the
have Chris Gora, Forged Tyrant. So 3 red, 6. He's affinity for artifacts, flying in haste.
Mhm.
Whenever he attacks, exile the top 5 cards of your library. You may cast an artifact spell from among them this turn. If you do, it has affinity for artifacts.
card is so good.
That's kind of nifty.
Is it immediate A for me? I already watched some gameplay of it and it looked fucking bonkers. I watched them hit that new Phyrexia card, Gate to Phyrexia.
Oh yeah, I'm thinking because like, sure I guess it sucks because you constantly exile the top, but if you're just getting like straight gas, like some of the big artifacts, like if you have a full 6 affinity or 7 affinity, like if you play a bunch of like everything that's artifact and you slam him, and then you go sideways because he's got haste, and you're like you said, I'm gonna hit portal to Phyrexia. Okay, next swing, I have even more. Just got another artifact, more affinity. I'm gonna swing. Oh, that's a Blightsteel Colossus in.
I think it's an A.
Yeah, I like him. You know,
Maybe.
has red actually started to like pick up in like what it could do?
A little bit. A little bit. Not there yet.
So flying vigilance, toxic 2. At the beginning of your end step, each opponent who has 3 or more poison counters on exile the top card of their library face down. You may look at that card and play them for as long as they're made exiled. You may spend mana or any mana of color to cast that spell. I think this is mid because it's really easy to get infect counters on it, but then if it's that easy to put that many poison counters on players, why do you care what your opponents are playing?
I guess. I mean, it is card advantage in colors that don't really need it.
Yeah, and like if you're going for a toxic strategy to get this to go off, what unless your opponents are also playing something similar, it's just like, okay, I guess you could be playing more of just a grindy, slow proliferate game. I don't know. I just like I said, I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I think it's mid. All right, so next is Kenzu of the Bleak Coven. Flying 5/4. Whenever another non-token creature you control dies, you may pay 2 life and exile. If you do, create a token that's a copy of it. The creature, except it's a 1/1 and has toxic 1.
Okay. There's probably something there. Probably like a B.
Yeah, it's just like a very fair. I guess you could have a lot of really good ETB effects, and then whenever they die, you get to like just reuse them, and then it morphs into a toxic build. Okay, I mean it's okay. There's some pretty good black ETB creatures. I'll stick them in B or her in B.
This commander's insane.
Oh, that's Punchy McPunch Fist.
Mm-hmm.
Attacking tokens you control have double strike. Whenever one or more tokens you control attacks a player, exile the top card of your library. During any turn you attack with token, you may play that card. I think this card actually has a lot of power to it.
I think it might be an S.
I kind of almost might agree with you because it's so easy to make tokens now. We have so many new things that benefit from having tokens. Like look at the past like 3 sets. How many things deal with tokens and making them better? And the set came with just a generic token doubler, and now we have 2 of them in the same set. And it's a lord for tokens, and it's value with the tokens that lets you cast them.
Yeah, Derek, I got to play this on Monday, and I had the new token doubler plus Goro make 2 5/5s. Give them haste and then swing for like
I think
20 damage, and I had a Cathar's Crusade out. This is definitely an S. It's giving card advantage for an attack strategy in Boros.
Yeah, I think it's definitely we're gonna see that pop up in the Boros list.
I think it's an S. It's an S,
yeah,
hands down. Like as a commander, it's gonna be so popular. And we already
Boros that does something else.
We already know where
Elish Norn is cracked.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's Kamal, right? His next one.
Yes. So just a mini talk about Elish Norn. So uh, stopping ETBs and then doubling yours. Because it's every permanent, it's better than Panharmonicon. There's not another card that works like this. Because, like, this one doubles, like, a banishing light, or like a, like things that have entered the battlefield hit them, like portable hole, or like, things that, like, more than just the creatures with Panharmonicon. And then you play Panharmonicon and now you're doing three things, drawing three cards off of a creature that draws, which we have like 5 or 6 of them now in the colors. So, like, yeah, way too
And
much
it's
power.
also really easy to protect yourself in white,
Mhm.
to save her and your good creatures.
Especially now with clever concealment, and we have
Yeah.
the other one that gives them all indestructible. That's free.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, next one we have Kimba. So whenever it or a cat enters the battlefield under your control, attach up to one target equipment you control to that creature. Equipped creatures you control get +1/+1, and for 5 mana you can make a 2/2 white cat creature. It's like a very like fair equipment deck, honestly.
What do you think?
You get probably like a C.
You think a C? So what's the top effect that auto equips something?
It auto equips either to it or whenever a cat enters, but it's only one equipment, and it has to be to the cat that enters.
So equipment has gotten that good.
But here's the thing: is Kimba's a 2-drop, so you're either playing it turn 2 and trying to build it up, or you're gonna wait until you play a good equipment and then play Kimba, and then equip it to Kimba. So it's
Yeah.
it's just all right. It's very
so we
slow.
got the token doubler.
So a noisy procession from the command zone that can become indestructible. I don't know. 4/4 indestructible on like turn 4 seems pretty good to me, Tom.
I think it's an A.
Yeah, I agree. It's only as good as your token makers, and it doesn't get you as much value.
White is pretty good with it.
It has gotten a lot better. I think Boros though is just a little bit better because, like, imagine I'm thinking like that Boros deck when you have like Assemble the Legion going. Like,
he first off, Assemble the Legion comes with it, and y'all got Cathar's Crusade, and I had Cathar's Crusade out as well.
With double strike, let's go.
Yeah, it was bad.
It's such a cool idea for a commander. I love it. All right, next we have Skrell of Defector Might. So he's the what was that card that gave protection?
Mother of Urns?
No, there was like the enchantment that did this, the instant Apostle's Blessing, wasn't it? Kind of almost does what he does. Protection and camp. He feels much more like wants to be in the 99 more than an actual commander. I'm sure people will play it just because. I mean, you could just keep making good white creatures, have toxic and hexproof, and keep swinging in, but it's very slow. He himself, like, you want to use him as the defender. You never really want to feel like you want to attack with him, even though he's got a toxic. So, like, I think I put him with Kimba.
Yeah, I agree. Double proliferating, but how good is this as the commander? Probably still fucking good.
No, so I've been playing a bunch of Arena, and even on a historic brawl, this card was a nightmare for me to deal with because.
But as the commander?
Yeah, as the commander, because they played the Teferi, the new blue one, made the 0-drop. Next turn, drew a card. So it put a counter on the creature. He played a proliferate card, play this, remove the counters. It was now indestructible. And then he just kept drawing. I eventually was able to outpace him because I ended up drawing the Shadow Staff to remove its indestructible, to force fight it with Tarask. But before that, I'm like, geez, what do I do? It's a 3/5 flying indestructible creature.
Yeah, all the best proliferate cards are in these colors for the most part. Like Viral Drake, and like a lot of the most important proliferate cards are in these colors. Like the one that when you cast a spell, you proliferate, so you get to proliferate twice. So I'm thinking like a Planeswalker deck that just gets a lot of value.
Yeah, 100%.
Wants to be like a Walker deck. Is that a B?
I think I'm between A and B. I think maybe either low B or high A. Because you need.
You mean low A, high B?
Sorry, yes, that's what I meant.
Yeah. It's okay. I think I'm gonna stick it in A. I think it's just it's an A. Because I mean, in blue, like, you're gonna find ways to draw, and also with that new Ichor Claw Gauntlet card, which is in blue, I'm thinking of a world where you get to play this as the commander with that card.
Or playing that game he played in an Exonerable Tide, and I was in big trouble, and that's when I top decked the Shadow Staff like an absolute fucking degenerate. It was like, oh, that's really cute. Watch this.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think in a world with this and Ichor Claw Gauntlet, like a mono blue planeswalker deck is gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
What is
All
this
right,
one?
next. This is Unctis, the Grand Metatech. So he's the 2/4. Other blue creatures you control have whenever this creature becomes tapped, draw a card, discard a card. Then other fat creatures you control get +1/+1. And then you can make with Phyrexia in blue, target creature you control becomes a blue artifact in addition to its other types. Activate only as a sorcery.
Seems pretty good.
Yeah, he's kind of cool. You could basically make a lot of mana dorks into blue creatures, and then when you tap them for like mana abilities, you get to draw a card. You get to loot.
Which I mean, looting is fair, so I think I'd put it in
Yeah.
B.
And artifacts have a lot of ways to deal with them in being in the graveyard. Like,
Mhm.
so yeah. So we have Mr. Double. So he basically the other Dominus. He has additional death triggers. So he's mono black. What's the Orzhov chick that does that?
Taste of Karlov.
Yeah. So it's a mono black taster that gets indestructible, but it's an 8/3.
Derek, imagine both of these in Rada Drobic, where you kill both of them, get it back. You have 4 of them. One creature dies.
On his own
50 copies. I think on his own he's still an A.
Yeah, he's an aristocrats like dictate deck.
Just think of the deck that we just played, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, I still feel like die triggers in black is very powerful.
Yeah, just think of like any mono black aristocrat deck when you're like, I'm gonna run all the good black. I'm gonna basically imagine like a Yawgmoth deck.
Would does that work with Grave Pact?
Yep, it's a death trigger. It triggers twice. Massacre Worm triggers twice. Midnight Reaper triggers twice. Pitiless Plunderer triggers twice.
Oh, Pitiless Plunderer? That's combos right there.
Yep.
That means Resembling Skeleton is easier now.
Yeah, if you sack Reassembling Skeleton with Ashnod's Altar and that, like, you get extra and you get to go plus.
Hold on one second.
Grim Harspec triggers twice.
Okay, sorry about that.
But yeah, like I said,
Jay's been sick and he's texting me.
That's not good.
So yeah, Blood Art. Yeah, I just think of Jake's the deck that he made before Corvold, and like a Iara 2.0 with this as the commander.
And then because like if there's creatures you don't care about in your graveyard, you get them have them indestructible, and it's Phyrexian, so you just get pay for life and be like, okay, he's indestructible. You don't even have to actually pay mana.
Seems really good to me.
So yeah, I think he's up there in like again like maybe above the other Dominus, in like the solid A spot. So next we have.
I think the blue one is a little better than the white one, and I think this one's worse than the Dominus's.
Next we have Geth, Thane of Contract. So other creatures you control get -1/-1, and for 3 mana tap return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. It gains if the creature would leave the battlefield, exile it instead of putting it anywhere else. Activate only as a sorcery. I think I'm going to put him in either in the C or D. Yeah. He minuses your board, and then they have the Whip Erebos effect that if they go anywhere, they die. They exile.
Yeah, I don't like that.
I don't like that either.
There's something there, like some weird resembling skeleton, like infinite dies kind of thing, but I'm not a fan. Too much downside for when you can just play this.
All right, low key, this rat is annoying. There are even if you're not playing a rat colony deck, you can get so much value off of his enter the battlefield effect. And there's so many rats and like getting to. Oh yeah, so this is the Rat King. Other rats you control have Toxic 1. He's got Toxic 1, and when he enters the battlefield, you look at the top 5. You may reveal any number of rats from among them and put them into your hand, and the rest go in the bottom in a random order. Being able to constantly get him back into play, so if you have like some reanimation or stuff. He fills the board up really quickly with a lot of rats because you draw so many of them and they're all so cheap. And if you're playing like a rat colony deck, he lets you play like a different kind of rat deck and lets you be a little bit more aggressive with them because it's easier to refill your hand. He's annoying, I'll tell you that much, from playing against him a few times.
Mhm.
I wouldn't say he's like amazing. I think
I put him in B, like pseudo
yeah.
advantage. I don't think he's quite as good as these. But yeah, I can see where the annoying comes from.
Yep. Okay, so next we have the Executioner Thane. Whenever one or more other creatures you control dies, each opponent loses 2 life. You gain 2 life. This ability only triggers once each turn. Eh.
The once each turn really kills it for me.
Yeah, because it's 2 life. But yeah, I think, and I might stick this in D.
What was the effect again?
Whenever one or more other creatures you control die, each opponent loses 2 life. You gain 2 life. This ability triggers only once each turn.
Well, considering the fact that there's like reanimation that you could do on each turn, it's not the worst in the universe. I'd say bottom of C.
I guess it's because it is each. So if you have a way to kill something each turn before it gets back to you,
Ophiomancer,
you
there's a
can
lot of
do.
things.
I guess you can technically hit for 8 a turn, but
Mhm.
next we have the Iron Goblin. 3 mana, 3/3, tap, sacrifice an artifact. Add amount of red equal to sacrifice mana value. Spend this only to cast artifact spells or activate abilities of artifacts.
That's pretty good.
So yeah, sack artifact, get. So this is just as like another like kind of Duretti scrap build, like scrap mastery, Shanane's Goblin Welder, trash for treasure kind of mono red. Go crazy with artifacts,
Hmm.
especially if any way to like untap him with like an artifact or something.
Hmm. I don't know
I think
where to put him.
I think he's just I don't know because we've never messed too heavy into mono red artifacts, and mono red artifacts can be kind of poopy stinky.
Hmm.
Because like there could be a place where like I play Spine of Isha, I sack Spine of Isha, put it back into my hand, recast it for the 7 mana that I just made.
But
Or if you have any way to untap him when something enters, if you have a reduction cost to artifacts, so it generates 1 mana. I don't know. There could be some shenanigans there.
I don't know. I don't know where to put it.
I still think I put him in B. Just because he's a Duretti style deck. This is the Red Dominus. If a source you control would deal non-combat damage to an opponent or a permanent an opponent controls, it deals double that damage to that player permanent instead. Then discard 2 cards to make him indestructible. So he's the most annoying to make indestructible.
Mm-hmm.
He has a 5/4, but he has a damage doubler from command zone.
For red, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't know though. Is it? I think this is our first B.
Yeah, I think so too.
If it was like all damage, I'd be a fan. But because it's non-combat damage, red is not the first. I mean, yeah, red can storm, but it's like the worst one at it. It's like impulse draw and rummaging, right? So like, it's the worst one at it. Like, sure, it has storm cards. It has underworld breach and stuff like that. Like, but other than that, like, the draw,
Yeah.
the draw in these colors is poopcock.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan.
Like, it's gonna do one thing. Like, it's gonna play one big red spell, and if it gets countered, it's just game over. Like, it doesn't do enough for me. And even if you play like pingers.deck or like a firebrand archer deck, like things that just deal damage to players when stuff happens.
So realistically, in my head, the way I see this only really being really good is if you play like a storm deck that like whenever you play something, it deals damage.
Yeah,
I see that being like the way to go with this to make it really work.
I still think it's a B. Even.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying it's good because you don't have like if you're playing Zada, like Zada gets to go nuts because you get to draw a bazillion cards and make a bazillion mana because you copy the draw spells and the mana spells. Anyway, this next one actually is kind of interesting. Thrun, Breaker of Silence. So he can't be countered. He's a 5/5 with trample, and he can't be the target of non-green spells your opponents control or abilities from non-green sources your opponents control. And as long as it's your turn, he has indestructible.
Okay.
He's all about like protect. So I feel like he just wants to be a mono green Voltron deck. Make him big. He's indestructible. You swing. It's really hard to target him.
I think that's landing around here for me.
Yeah.
I don't think it's the best thing you want to be doing in green. Green is not the best Voltron color.
No, we have a few things that make it a little bit better and have helped, and like you could play some equipment, but like
It's probably better to play auras, which is sad
yeah,
because if he gets blown up, they're gone. But I mean, at least you get the enchantresses.
not as many. So anyway, the green Dominus is next. Doubles. So here's the one thing I don't like about him. He does have reach, which is nice, and you have to sacrifice 2 creatures and make him indestructible. But you double the power of toughness each creature until the end of turn.
I think it's pretty busted. I feel
As a
like
commander,
I feel like as a commander, that's pretty fucking broken.
maybe this would be an interesting build to try and mess around with. I
Like
guess you,
Derek, this could be a cool one to like, uh, even like try over like this over the Tarask or something, because like having your win con in the command zone and then just playing green the way green plays, you know, like
mm,
because like the only problem with green is killing the table, right? You need to find your win con. It doesn't have good ways to tutor the win cons unless you're playing Craterhoof Behemoth, right? Or like
mhm.
Maze and Forerunners. Whatever is your creature related win con, if it's not Tooth and Nail related, like if it's like Finale of Devastation, Unnatural Growth, Overwhelming Stampede, Triumph of the Hordes, it does not tutor those colors if you're in mono green, even if you're in a Gruul. The only card that could tutor it is Gamble, and no one likes to play that card. So having the win con in the command zone and then just playing green the way green plays seems like an easy S to me.
You think all the way up to S?
I think. I think it's better than all of these, clearly, because it's green. And the only reason being it's green. I see a world where I attack, I go to main phase 2, I risk cards for 1 billion. None of those decks get to do that. Green doing green
Hmm.
stuff. I
But
think
like, is
I think this colors plays the best out of what the colors
mm,
of the Dominuses are trying to do. Because Orzhov is white and Orzhov is a little bit better for this. Like I guess blue is fine with proliferating, but like I mean just doubling the proliferate, I mean it's fine.
yeah, okay, yeah, I could see it being like as a really strong, especially if you run a lot of like trample based creatures.
Mhm.
And there's like a lot of really big trample based. Like playing him makes like you play him and then like you have like you double your power of everything, and then Galta is probably only 2 mana to play. You like play Terror Claw. You could play and have God Eternal Roas, which when he enters doubles, you play like Defiler of Vigor and make everything bigger and bigger.
Mhm.
Savala, yeah, Pathbreaker Ibex.
Also, it's really hard to kill your win con when he's in the command zone and can also give itself indestructible. And a lot
Okay,
of the
yeah.
time, all you need to do is double power to win in a green deck, because
All right, well, okay,
half the
I'll
creatures
stick it.
have trample anyway.
All
It's
right,
probably
so
the worst out of these two, but it's definitely a strong S in my mind. Because I think of Return of the Wild Speaker, like whatever you want to do with the power, it's there. Like also, you get to play beat. You're a Beast Whisperer deck. Like you get to do green stuff and not worry about the win con as much, because the commander is half of the win con. And God
all right.
forbid you draw like another, like you're also playing Unnatural Growth, like, and you're just like beef.
So this next card,
This card's sick.
I think it's going to go right up there with the rest of them.
Hmm.
Get to potentially draw like a fresh hand in some of your best colors to dealing with anything in play in the board, with amazing stats and text too.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick her up there.
I think it's an S. So it draws
What?
so many cards.
So you play her and you have one ephemerate in your hand, you could potentially go plus 15 cards,
Yeah, it
like
draws
off of
so
off
many
of an
fucking
average
cards.
hit on each time.
Yeah, it draws
It's
so
like
many cards.
and like
Speaking
you,
of drawing cards, do you
yeah.
want to see what the effect does for everybody? Because we know what it does, but
When it enters the battlefield, you may pay 3. If you do proliferate twice, when you proliferate, draw a card.
this one, this one. We didn't talk about that.
Oh, Atraxa, sorry.
Yeah.
So Flying Vigilance, Death Touch, Lifelink 7/7. When she enters the battlefield, reveal the top 10 cards of your library. For each card type, you may put a card of that type from among the revealed cards into your hand. For the rest of your bottom of your library order. So we have artifact, battle, creature, enchantment, instant, land, planeswalker, and sorcery. So we have 8. So there is potential.
It's a better version of Niv Reborn.
And if you have, and like, think about how hard it is to miss on 10 cards. Like, if you had 10 lands or 10 creatures, you're still going 10 cards deep and grabbing, like, say, worst case scenario, you play this. You go 10 cards deep and draw the exact card that you want off the top 1/10 of your commander deck. Let's go. Anyway, Azuri, Stalker of Spheres, enters battlefield. You may pay 3 if you do proliferate twice. Whenever you proliferate, draw a card. Tom, what have we learned about proliferating? Didn't Mike build this deck already?
Yeah, it's insanely good. I think it's that's a tough one. Is it the best card? It might
be. Nah, see, next card's best card. Nah, I'm just kidding. Glissa Sunslayer is next card.
It's a great card.
Yeah, first strike, Death Touch. Whenever she deals combat damage to a player, choose one. Draw a card and lose a life, destroy target enchantment, or remove up to 3 counters from target permanent. So there's a funny little interaction I've seen with when people have like messed with Glissa, is that you can remove the counters from sagas and reset them. So you have like a Binding of the Old Gods. Every time you attack and hit with a first strike Death Touch creature, you get to rewind it back. Now you got to be careful like which sagas like really matter to you, because like you can only do one at a time. Or at worst, you're just like still just drawing a card, or you're doing like the bow combo and machine gunning the entire board with your commander.
Probably with that kind of text on a card, probably like a B.
Yeah, she's a fair B. She's a very fair card. All right, we have Jorkadine is next, the first Gold Warden. So he's a 2/2 for 2 with trample. Whenever he attacks, he gets +X in a turn, where X is the number of equipped creatures you control. Then, if Jorkadine's power is 4 or greater, draw a card.
Meh.
Yeah, this wants you to equip wide across the board, and what does equipment not want to do is go wide across the board.
It's like a
because you want to Voltron it up.
Boar's equipment is still really good. It has too many good equipments. This is the guy that we just were playing.
Yeah, so this
How do you
dude's
feel
interesting
as a commander.
He's interesting. It's kind of like a weird, janky, like reverse birthing pod in Rakdos, which really likes playing with its graveyard anyway. And there's probably some lines of play where like you sack like you say you would play a Massacre Worm and kill the board, or you play a Noxious Gear Hulk, then end of turn sack the Gear Hulk, and then you get like the Phyrexian Delver to bring it back. The next turn you sack Delver.
Vampiric Tutor to,
and then you sack like Delver, and then you get Pitiless Plunderer, and like so there's probably like you're always like downgrading your creatures, but you're constantly getting another creature from your deck.
Do you think it's a B or A?
I think it's still B. I think we'd probably have to see what you probably have to build around it more, and maybe you would have to run some more like reanimation style creatures, but like you're still getting a good value out of killing your own creatures.
Yep.
So, all right. So next we have I don't. 1 second. Gotta find him. There he is. Malcor, Purity Overseer. So 3 mana for 1/1 for Phyrexian Elephant Wizard. So when he enters the battlefield, you create a 3/3 colorless Phyrexian Golem artifact creature token. And at the beginning of your end step, if the 3 or more artifacts enter the battlefield under your control this turn, you get another Phyrexian Golem artifact creature token.
Meh.
It just seems meh.
What are the colors?
Blue, white.
I mean,
you're playing a bunch of artifacts and you get a free artifact.
There's a lot of draw for artifact. It could be like artifact fun stuff. Probably like a B.
Yeah, he just seems okay.
The colors play it well, so.
Our girl Malera. So 2 mana, 3/3. If you would get one or more poison counters instead, you get one poison counter, and you can't get additional poison counters this turn. You exile her, choose another target creature or artifact. When it's put into the graveyard this turn, uh, when it's put into a graveyard this turn, return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control.
And it's green
So
white.
yeah, so it's not sacking Malera because they realized with Safi Eric's what would happen if you had that effect on a 2-drop.
Yeah, you just loop. It's still a B. Still a B to me.
Yeah, it stops poison, so there you go, a little bit.
This dude.
So Migloy's the Maze Crusher. He enters the battlefield with 5 oil counters on it. Remove an oil counter from it. It gains Vigilance and Menace at the end of the turn. Remove 2 oil counters from it. It gets +2/+2 at the end of the turn. And remove 3 oil counters from it. Destroy target artifact or enchantment. Now, originally reading him, I thought like, okay, eh. But on the flip side, there are so many ways to proliferate now that, and like he might actually be an okay aggro strategy. He's not great, but he does have at least some relevant effects. But he's also not big.
I think he's a C. What do you think? Are you arguing
Yeah.
for B?
No, I wouldn't put him in B. He's definitely C.
Ovika.
Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, create X 1/1 red Phyrexian Goblin creature tokens where X is the mana value of that spell. They gain haste until the end of the turn, and it has flying and ward 3, pay 3 life.
So, one of the best strategies in the game right now, which is spells and stuff, and you can also do planeswalkers.
Or you could play extra turns because you make like 7 1/1s with haste and then take an extra turn.
Yeah, well, that works in Is It Spells and stuff, which is one of the, I'd say, top 5 best decks in the format right now, if you agree. Is It Spells?
Is it though?
Derek? Oh my god, get out of here. All right,
Tom, also, this makes imagine Impact Tremors in this deck where you go Sublime Epiphany. Everybody takes 6 damage on top of me making 6 creatures, and I get all the effects.
I think it goes up here.
I'm gonna Treasure Cruise, Delve Out, pay 1 mana, and get 8 tokens. I'm gonna Mana Geyser and make 5 tokens. Imagine you storm off, like, oh my jeez. I'm a Justice Will, Mana Geyser, Seething Song, Frantic Search.
Seagate Restoration with a Locust God out.
Yeah. So yeah, that's how we feel about that.
This is an Omniscience deck. Bam, 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 bam.
Yeah, play Omniscience.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's non-creature spell, Tom.
I know, so it would make 10.
You could even play
nuts.
You could even play just an artifact shenanigans deck and go nuts in this because you still just. Oh wait, Tom, I'm just thinking about this. You play like an artifact deck with like an Ashnod's Altar and a Phyrexian Altar, and like you play like and then pair it with an Ironworks. Like that could be something. Anyway. This is the Bladehold person.
We put it in the toxic deck.
Yeah, I just want to find her so I could read her. Reavor, Bane of Bladehold. So 4 mana, 3/4 with Battle Cry. And at the beginning of combat of your turn, the next time target creature would deal combat damage to 1 or more players this combat. Prevent that damage. If damage is prevented this way, create that many 1/1 colorless Phyrexian Might artifact creature tokens with Toxic 1, and this creature can't block. So it's a Might generator in Orzhov.
Which tokens in Orzhov is cool.
It's also a lot of cool sack fodder. It's probably the fairest way to do it because you have to attack, and it has to deal damage to a player. So if it gets blocked or removed, like it just gets really awkward. I think sometimes. I think it's better as a utility card in the 99, but as a commander,
I'd say C.
So I think this next dude is going to be our first D. Honestly, 2 mana, 1/3 with lifelink and Toxic 1. Whenever you proliferate, choose 1. If you don't control the if you don't control a creature named the Hollow Sentinel, create the Hollow Sentinel, a legendary 3/3 colorless Phyrexian Golem artifact creature token. Or if you proliferate, target artifact creature you control gains flying and lifelink until the end of the turn. So you have to run proliferate. You have to either make the thing or run like an artifact creature build, and then by proliferating, you give an artifact creature flying and lifelink. But then proliferating means you also want stuff with +1 counters. I don't know. He just feels so underwhelming to me. Like what?
I feel like he still lands in C.
Really, like what does he really do to help the strategy of
I
like?
guess like I just imagine a world where you're just playing like artifact stuff and you just give it flying and it's like cool. I hit somebody. I guess it's fine. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
cool.
still,
You
but
sound
that's still fine. I mean,
it sounds dumb, and
it
what starts
seems
dumb starts
about
with D, so stick it in D.
fine. This though, oh, this one's so much fun.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, so I don't think it's good,
I don't think it's good either, but it's
but I
definitely the
think it's
most fun
fun.
commander printed.
Juggernauts you control each combat if able. Juggernauts you control can't be blocked by walls, because that's what Juggernaut said. And other creatures you control have base power, toughness 5/3, and are Juggernauts in addition to their other types.
It's definitely a B. It's got to be at least a B.
I think there's an argument you can make where you make a bunch of you do go wide
But it's
artifacts.
colorless though. That's the
Yeah,
problem.
but no, we've gotten so much support for that, honestly.
I still think it lands in B.
Okay. Yeah. No, I wouldn't put him any higher than that. I mean, he's even awkward in B. I think I'd still stick him in maybe a high C.
Okay.
Because just like, yeah, I don't know. I don't like him as much.
Definitely the most fun commander. It's like the Yargle of the
yeah,
of the set.
exactly. It's a complete flavor win for the set, and that's mostly his thing. So we have next dude, Rock Hexgold Nabber. 3 mana 2/2 with trample haste. Whenever an equipped creature you control other than him attacks or dies, you may attach all equipment attached to that creature to him. So so I don't know, I don't like him either.
I don't like it either.
So you want to have other things equipped except for him, and you want them to die, so the all equipment goes onto him. But why not just put the equipment on him?
It's the same problem as this, but this one's slightly worse because it's just red.
But at least it still does one thing it wants to do is equipment as compared to the other stupid Venzer dude who wants to do 4 different things in one card.
Mm-hmm. So
anyway, next dude is Arthari Sun's Glory, 5 mana 3/3. Yeah, flying lifelink haste. Whenever he attacks, you may you get an experience counter. Then create a 2/2 red rebel creature token that's tapped and attacking for each experience counter you have. For 4 mana, create an untapped 4 mana tap and untap rebel creature you control. A return from the graveyard to the battlefield tapped.
I've also seen 3 games of this, and this commander kills people. It
I
goes really fast.
Yeah, that's a really good act because you remember you don't lose experience counters. It's got haste.
Did you read the bottom part too?
Yeah, because you get to return.
Yeah.
Because you just have to tap 1 rebel, and if you're at a point where you have like 5 experience counters, okay, I swing, I make 5 2/2s.
And you're in the colors to pay off creatures attacking, so you get evasion, protection. You get the red damage when the creatures are entering, or playing like a Fiery Emancipation, Perforos, Impact Tremors, like Warstorm.
Can we talk about how like Boros and a white cards are like towards the top of our list, and we had a blue black card and a green card towards the bottom of our list?
Listen, I think this is either S or A.
I definitely say it's in a high A.
Because like it's doing a lot of everything, you know. Like it's really good.
No, I agree. I think it's also
this is just like slightly better. Because the double strike and card advantage. This is the argument for this. It's the win con in the command zone, you know? The win cons in the command zone versus like an engine, you know?
You know, I read Athari Sun's Glory is basically kind of like a its own Assemble the Legion.
It's better. It makes 2/2s though, right?
Yeah. Now they come in tapped and attacking immediately, so I guess the idea behind it is like,
good.
What if you block all the rebels and there's no rebels left?
Derek with white cards and Derek Audric, flying lifelink haste, alphabet soup,
and then you play the other Audric and you're like, actually, you don't block any of my rebels.
That's so good.
This might be something we have to mess around with the build. All right, it's time.
Hold on. Before we talk about that, I want to write it down because I'm going to forget. So Phyrexia, all will be 1. Decks to make. I didn't have any more written down. I kind of want to make both of the Boros guy. What was that guy's name? Hold on. Phyrexia.
Nayali Sun's Vanguard.
Spell that.
Ney
Mhm.
Ali Suns Vanguard.
Is it Suns like with an apostrophe?
Yeah, after the S. So it's SUNS apostrophe Vanguard.
Is there any other ones you wanted to try? Like, did you want to try this one or anything over here?
Well, let's finish this up first, then we got
Okay.
because we got our last two.
All right.
Like our man, the myth, the legend, the mere man.
He's definitely up here.
It's got a lot of different.
I feel like he has to be S, right?
He's got so many different ways he can win. Someone at our shop, the one dude has built it already, and like he's won in like a bunch of different ways. And like mirrors can be really resilient, especially if you have like the new like both of the matrix and like the thing that like it's the returns mirrors, and
Mhm.
there's just a lot of really good things for this deck. And because you're 5 colors, like you get all the good stuff.
Yeah, like if you look at our deck list, like it gets to play Joda, fucking it gets everything. Like all the artifact related stuff, all the draw related stuff, all the counterspell related stuff, whatever you want your interaction to be, you have it. Probably better to just play protection because the board's gonna be good enough.
All right, and this our next dude, Vishgraz the Doom Hive. I think he's gonna be in like the mid A tier.
Yeah, I agree.
The Someone at the shop has built this too, and it gets real scary. Like he's playing basically just a mildly upgraded version of it, and just running a bunch of infect creatures. This thing gets huge.
Didn't you make this?
I haven't put. I have some of stuff. I just haven't made it yet.
Okay.
But like, it gets really terrifying. And there's also some other builds I've seen that really focus on the mites and run a lot of blink effects and all the token doublers, and end up just going like with a full like I'm gonna swing with 55 mite tokens at you.
Yeah. Seems really good.
So it's cool because it has versatility in how you want to build it. You could also build it. I've also seen some lists where people have just Voltron this commander. It's like, okay, well he's getting. It's basically the green white, all the good green white enchantress stuff.
Yeah, you have
but then
the
you can
colors
add some,
for it.
and then you just add some black stuff to it. Like imagine my Sigarda list with some black stuff in it.
And the commander has poison. Toxic. So yeah, it's pretty good.
And venerated rot priest is not okay.
So what do you think? So which is your favorite commander that come out, and which one do you think is the best?
So I really like the Is It Spell dude because I love spells.
Do you think it's the most broken one, or it's the coolest?
No, this is just so Derek's favorites. That one, the mirror dude.
Yeah.
The so the mirror, I think I almost kind of want to try the red artifact dragon.
Oh yeah, this guy. I got the. If you want to watch the Commander Zone episode where Rachel won, it was very resilient, like very resilient. There was so much interaction in the beginning, and this was just uber resilient.
I've also just been having a lot of fun doing some brainless mono green stuff recently. Oh, also Glissa. I kind of wanted to make Glissa as for fun, just for budgety tribal death touch because she's got death touch and first strike, and just make like a tribal death touch deck.
Then you play the guy that gives everything poison, or like whenever they get hit with death touch.
Yeah, Finn the Fangbearer.
Yeah, you play Finn the Fangbearer. Yeah, and at least this draws a card. This is so much better than Finn the Fangbearer.
And you also play Oran Frostfang. Your things already have death touch anyway, but like.
And the 3-drop artifact, god artifact.
But there's also the hooded
Blight. Yeah.
And the hooded Blight Fang gives all your attacking creature when you attack with a creature with death touch, they lose like a life.
There's a archetype that gives your creatures death touch, right?
Yep, it's the black one, and it takes it away from your opponents so they can't get it.
Yeah. Still a B though, definitely a B.
Oh, 100% B. It's not great, but like it's got some nifty things you could do.
Notice where the commanders are. Pretty good. Most of the commanders are pretty high. I think okay, so what do you think is the best though out of the set? So my favorites are definitely the new Azuri, definitely Urtet. I like this one and the Phoenix, and then this as well. Uh,
Hmm.
but the card that I think is the best out of everything, it's definitely probably between these three.
Yeah,
Uh,
see, I think Atraxa, the Atraxa deck is going to be very oppressive. Like a lot of really good cards that like stop the game from
so
like any player from doing
continue,
anything,
continue. Yeah,
and then just drops her, and then fill. It's like when I played my Damia deck, where I just puked out my hand, and then at the end of the turn or at the beginning of my turn, just drew a full hand again. And we
yeah,
know how much of a nightmare that is when someone gets to fill their whole hand up every single turn.
yeah.
And that's kind of what she's going to be doing. Plus,
With
also
all the
flying lifelink,
and all the
vigilance,
blink
death
you can
touch.
play, like
Yeah,
it's so good. But
you see that
I
there.
think I have to say Urtet just because of the mana cost. He
Mhm.
starts going way quicker. And like if you have like an Urza in play or like a coalition relic or not coalition relic, the thing that lets you tap creatures for mana, the green enchantment.
Oh, Cryptolith, right?
Cryptolith, right. If you have one of those or Urza in play, you just nut your whole hand. You understand with Urza and a haste enabler and Cryptolith, right? You get to just cast a 2-drop mirror, make a token, and then tap both of them for mana, play a 2-drop mirror, make a token.
Hmm.
You get to just keep playing things.
Yeah, yeah. Like I remember, like when I was playing against the dude who has one at the shop. Like I'm playing a deck that has a lot of ways of removal. I'm looking at it. It's like okay, you could put something a mirror back into his hand and replay it. So if I kill his commander, he just replays it. If I kill the mana generating mirror, he just replays it and gets a mirror. So it actually goes plus for him. I had no way to destroy the artifact currently.
Hmm.
Oh no! And then he had the land that puts it back on top. So like, if I destroy that, he gets to put it back on top and replay it. Like, what do I do?
Yeah.